On a once quiet neighborhood street in Toronto, the Hallmark Hall of Fame has attracted an all-star cast to bring Tom Griffin's hilarious and touching off-Broadway play, The Boys Next Door, to the screen. Distinguished director John Erman describes how this remarkable cast was assembled.
Nathan was the linchpin. Nathan was the one we went to first. And I wanted Nathan so badly that I said to him, "You can play any part you want," hoping against hope that he would choose either the part he did choose or the part that Michael is playing. And that's exactly what he said.
I was just very touched by the whole thing. And I also thought it was funny. I also thought this would be very tricky to do because, you know, you don't want it to become a sitcom or that you're trying to, that you're making fun of the challenged, and yet there is a great deal of humor to the piece, and then humor that comes out of their innocence and dealing with their problems.
The casting person said to me, "How do you feel about using people who were in it before?" And I said, "I want to use Michael Jeter." I could just see Michael Jeter in this part because I knew him, and I knew, and I'd seen him in Grand Hotel, in which he was just so extraordinary, and I knew that he would have the sort of madness to make the part work.
Of the experiences I had on stage in New York, this character, Arnold, he was one of the very few characters I had the opportunity to play who I really did hope to be able to revisit.
Do you know anything about breakfast?
Arnold's particular difficulty is that his social worker, Jack, is the person he's become. It's the most profound emotional attachment he's ever made in his entire life. And this man makes the decision to go away. And Arnold loves this person because it's the most profound attachment he's ever made. And I think one of the joys for me in working on this piece is to understand what it's like, is to allow myself to understand what it's like to just suffer loss. Of the four men who live in the house, of the boys next door, it's sort of Larry, Moe, Curly, and Sybil. And Robert Sean Leonard, unfortunately, has the job of playing Sybil.
Robert is an amazingly sensitive actor. He works with great delicacy. It takes him a long time to get to find the truth of the character for himself. Toward the end of the rehearsal week, he came to me one day and he said, "I think I have him now." And of course he did. And from that moment on, he's just been sailing through. And the bigger the challenge you give Robert, the more he likes it.
I read this script and thought it was tricky, and I was concerned about it. So I asked to meet with John, and the second I met him, I knew it would be fine. He knew everything I was talking about. I had done a lot of reading and told him my problems and ideas, and he said, "Look, I want to tell the truth. So whatever the truth entails, then we'll do it. You'll help me and I'll help you, and it is a film, it is heightened, but I want to tell the truth." So once a director says that, I usually climb right on board.
Courtney was one of the really exciting ones for me because we started at a very safe level and we've gone to a somewhat daring level, and it's been a really interesting journey, and he's wonderful to work with because he's so smart and so grateful for a good idea. And if you give him a good idea, he just runs with it. So he's a joy.
Lucien is mentally challenged and extremely mentally challenged. I think he's the lowest functioning member of the household.
Do you understand
He's
that?
very simple and just speaks the truth in a very innocent way. He just he's completely not editing. He's just a truthful and honest human being, which is I think what we all aspire to be like.
Mare is a true artist. I mean, Mare is, she finds a purity in the work without sacrificing an element of, or iota of the humor. She finds the core and the pain of this character, as she has in other things. And, you know, I think she's one of the best actresses that's working.
I just thought it was a really challenging, exciting thing to do. And also I think probably Nathan's casting was exciting to me. I just think he's a great actor. And
it seemed like of everyone, he was the one at the very first reading who knew exactly what he was doing. And so that made me feel secure, like, oh, well, at least all my scenes are with him. And he'll help me, you know. He was so sure, or so there already from the beginning.
What Tony has to do is to be the glue throughout the whole film and to hold it together and to change as he comes to the realization that these boys can only go so far in their life and that it's not going to be fulfilling enough for him. So it's a very, very difficult part.
The most important legacy from the play is that it's hilariously funny. You have these guys, these outrageous personalities all inhabiting this house together, and you know, there's this terrible undercurrent of pain and suffering because of their condition, but that also is fodder for outrageous comedy.
The challenge for the director and his cast was to balance the comedy with the more poignant moments in a way that preserves each character's innate dignity.
This show is tricky in the sense that you can either veer too far toward the comic or too far toward the tragic. And it is a very fine line. And once again, I went back to the character of Jack, and I tried to tell it as if it were his memory, as if after he had quit the job, he was telling somebody about these guys. And so that the audience sees it through his point of view, which is never judgmental and never condescending, but he loved them. So he saw the sweetness and the goodness and the humor in all of them, as well as the frustrating things.
It's not about these funny guys doing bits, but about these guys who are living their lives and funny things happen to them.
I thought it would be very challenging to do as an actor, to pull that off, the sort of delicate balance of not having it become a caricature of what people think of as a quote-unquote retarded person.
Getting it right was very important to the cast and crew. And to meet that challenge, the actors spent time at various facilities that work with developmentally challenged individuals, beginning with an employment training center, where they learn simple job skills.
Doing all sorts of things that to us would seem incredibly boring. To them, these were challenges. These were exciting challenges.
You see the joy in the faces of just doing something that they feel that they're contributing.
And I think that when all the actors got there, they were able to find the truth of their characters.
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to ask, what to say, what not to say. And it was really two of the most beautiful days I've ever had. When people need you so obviously, it can't help but be moving. And you start to find ways you need them too.
The cast also attended a group dance. The experience provided the actors with a focus for their performances in the movie's big dance sequence, and also was the source for many of the extras in that scene. The energy and enthusiasm of the developmentally challenged extras impressed everyone.
It was one of the most joyful experiences I've ever had filming anything. And It was as if I were at a birthday party that were lasting for 18, 16 hours. And a birthday party where no one got tired and everyone liked the cake.
The production paid meticulous attention to authenticity in every aspect of the movie, except for one scene, the Great Rat Hunt. Devon, a classically trained hamster from Chicago, took part in the live-action sequences, but for obvious reasons, he was not allowed to finish the scene. The prop department had 2 custom-made imitation hamsters created to stand in for the death scene. The lighthearted mood prevailed throughout the production, but the cast's respect for each other and the material kept them focused.
This is an amazing group of actors. Everyone brings so much to the party.
One of the challenges of working on something where there are so many important actors and strong actors is to try to orchestrate them so that each character gets his moment and doesn't interfere with another actor's moment.
In turn, the actors give director John Erman a lot of credit.
He has a love of these characters. He finds them endearing and funny, and he's not afraid of that because he trusts that the bottom end of the picture, the point that's being made about the disabled community is beautiful and real and is meaningful.
The most important thing I've taken from The Boys Next Door is the sense that people are people, and we all have struggles through life of varying intensity. You know, most people struggle profoundly more than perhaps you or I do through life. And the 4 guys who inhabit this house have a terrible struggle, but they are these wonderful, in a certain sense, pure spirits. And when you get to know them, their disability, their impairment seems to evaporate.
I hope that people will be able to find more humanity in the way they look at others who are different. I won't even say less fortunate, because I think that's condescending, but different. We're all different in this world, and if people really have intelligence and humanity, they're going to appreciate the difference instead of censor it.